Let's return now to that security discussion around the Solomons. Joining me is Sam Roggeveen. He's director of the Lowy Security Program, the International Security Program at the Lowy Institute. Sam, this deal to boost the Solomon Islands police force, is it a significant step forward?
Well, as we've talked about a number of times, Kieran, there's a game afoot in the Pacific Islands, a game for influence. And we've seen it recently in the deal that Australia signed with Nauru, and we're now seeing it again in the Solomon Islands. Significantly, Solomon signed a security agreement with China just last year, and now Australia has announced an agreement on policing as well. So essentially what we're seeing is another example of competition for influence in this part of the world. The good news here is that Australia's playing that game pretty well, as the recent successes indicate. We have some important natural advantages here too. The Pacific Islands is very much closer to Australia than it is to China. We have sporting, cultural, economic ties with the Pacific Islands region that the Chinese don't have. Our aid effort in the Pacific Islands by far outranks what China does, even though China is growing fast. And I'd say finally, there's an imbalance of resolve. The Pacific Islands region is just more important to us than it is to China. So this is another example, I think, of that game. And yeah, there is a whack-a-mole element to it. Everywhere China wants to put its stamp on the region, Australia responds. So that's difficult, and it's a tough game that Australia's playing, but we seem to be playing it pretty well right now.
What about the US view on all of this? I know the Pentagon has just released its annual report on Chinese military power. What's it found?
Yeah, so look, I mean, one bit of connective tissue here is that the ultimate fear in Australia is that China sets up agreements with one or more Pacific Islands country to actually establish a Chinese military presence in the Pacific. That would be disastrous for Australia, so we're aiming to prevent that. Now, in the meantime, what we're seeing in this new Pentagon report shows it is that China is continuing the really dramatic expansion of its military capabilities.